Aloha nui. Mahalo for joining us today. We'll get started in just a moment or two, but while we're waiting, if you wouldn't mind dropping in the chat where you're joining us from today. Aloha nui kako and mahalo for those just joining us today. We'll get started in just a moment or two. Today's session is going to focus on indigenizing mental health, and we'll feature our speaker, Kanoelani Davis. And then, so while we wait for more people to join us, if you could just drop in the chat to let us know where you're joining from today. Aloha nui. Maybe we'll just wait another minute for a few more people to join us. Today's session will focus on indigenizing mental health, and will feature Kanoelani Davis. And if you're joining us either on Facebook or here on the Zoom, please go ahead and drop in the chat where you're joining us from today. Maybe just as we get started, let's take some grounding breaths today and center ourselves. And hanu mai, hanu aku. Hanu mai, hanu aku. Hanu mai, hanu aku.
E ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna nueo o nā mele. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. Ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna nueo o nā mele. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e. Ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e. O nā mea huna nueo o nā mele. E ho mai, e ho mai, e ho mai e.
Okay, aloha nui, mahalo, mahalo to everyone for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us here this morning. This webinar is the second in our Indigenous mental health series in honor of Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea, established by King Kamehameha III following the rightful return of our sovereign government to Hawaii by the United Kingdom after the illegal seizure by one of their representatives. And this was a day in which Kamehameha proclaimed, "O mau ke ea kaina I ka pono." The ea, the sovereignty, the life, the breath of our land is perpetuated through justice. My name is Lilinoi Kohiko, and I work with Papa Ola Lōkahi as a population health specialist, focusing on addictions and behavioral mental health. And so this morning we'd have just a few housekeeping notes to give before we go ahead and get started. So today's session will be recorded and we are live streaming to Facebook. Please note that we're using the Zoom webinar feature, so this does limit your ability to turn on and off your camera and to unmute, but we can unmute you if the need arises. Please also feel free to post any questions that you have in the Q&A panel, which you'll find at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can also post them on Facebook. We'll leave some time to answer the questions and talk story toward the end of today's webinar. The chat will also be monitored throughout our time today. And then following the webinar, you'll be asked to complete an evaluation. So if you can just take a moment to complete this evaluation, it's only like a minute or so. It really does help to help us to improve and expand our programming opportunities. Also, we wanted to send a reminder that this is a safe space and we're all here to heal and learn through shared experience. We also want to hold space after to process through any experiences that may come up for you during today's session. So we'll stick around for about 15 minutes afterward to check in with everyone. This series is co-sponsored by Papa Ola Lōkahi and the Hawaii State Alcohol and Drug Abuse Division in support of Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea. And it's my honor this morning to introduce today's speaker, Kanoelani Davis. Kanoelani comes from the island of Molokainuiahina. She is a single mother of 4 daughters, 2 of which have gone off to college, both with bachelor's degrees and 1 working towards a master's in psychology and social work. Kanoelani, raised by her grandparents, was enveloped in martial arts, healing, and hula from the age of 2. She has carried on these traditions into adulthood and into the work she does today. She lifts her papa's name, Sifu, ʻōlohe, kahupono, Francis Leialoha C Wong, to whom she credits much of her ʻike from. Kanoelani is the owner of PoMahina Designs, a wearable arts company imbued in essence and culture. Kanoelani has recently expanded her business, in which her daily mana bombs, truth bombs, has offered empowerment and enrichment to others while healing herself through some tough times. Mana Bombs offers podcasts of the experiential moments that many have gone through to support growth and well-being, while opening opportunity for others to Hoʻā Mana through workshops and individual sessions. Kanoelani is also a Kumu for the substance use and prevention program called Puni Ke Ola, where culture is health. Davis teaches ʻōpio, a form of Hoʻā Mana, through photography, utilizing makawalu, ka'au, and kaona as the focus to move towards self-mastery. Velina mai e Kanoe, and I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Aloha mai kākou, mahalo e Lilinoi and nā pua Papa Ola Lōkahi. It is an honor to be here and to share a little bit about the work that we're doing through Hoʻā Mana. Just another quick introduction and just a quick aloha to everybody. My name again is Kanoelani Davis. I come from the island of Molokai in the ahupua of Kamiloloa. In the moku of Kawela by the shores of Kalokoʻeli and Kalohi. So aloha, aloha mai kākou. As Lini Noi had shared earlier, it's so important to get grounded and stay grounded, and it helps us to focus and stay disciplined, and really helps me in staying disciplined with my focus and where we're going. So with that being said, always honoring our kupuna, the places that we are from, the places that provide source to us, whether it be to nourish our bodies, our minds, or any aspect of us spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, we acknowledge with appreciation and mahalo. And with that being said, I would like to share something of my breath with you folks. Ko ini hoga bo ahina la ila I abo igega oga lohi alohi kala makahigina pukana iga ige agabu ubo bo ina nalua ganaloa Hoʻaia kanoea I kamako e ola mako I na wahine akina ui kaana aloha mai aloha mai aloha mai kako aloha. First off, let's just take a moment to recognize today is Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea and the historical aspects into which we Hoʻihoʻi Ea, we return back to ourselves and our breaths and sovereignty and celebrating an acknowledgement of who we are as a nation and how history has shifted and hulied so many times throughout the year. So today, if you're out there celebrating Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea and understand the concept of that, if you're on Oahu and you're able to stop at Thomas Square and bring your Hai Hawaii, please send pictures and do so. I am on Molokai and unable to do those types of things, but we share and support and aloha here across the channel, across the Kaiwi channel with those on Oahu and across Hawaii. So mahalo. Before I begin, I do want to share that what I may share with you could do several things. It could impact you in a way where it creates triggers within you, memories that might spark maybe some hard times in your life. It may spark moments of celebration. It may spark moments of things that we did not realize we hid so well. And so I want to put that out there that this talk story may end up bringing things into light that you may or may not be ready for. So with that being said, if it does, please know it is not within my intentions or the intentions of Papa Ola Lōkahi to do these things wrongfully, that we do these things with aloha, and that is not the intention to hurt anyone in any way, shape or form, but to move past these moments with grace, with integrity intact, and to move through it and process things so that we can grow from them as foundations. And if at any point, as Lilinoi has shared earlier, triggers come up, we will stay on for another 15 minutes after the session is over. And if it's something that you want to share via chat or via voice, please let us know. We respect any way and any form in which you need to process, and we are absolutely here for you. And I wanted to put that out there as a way to malama myself and malama you folks as well. And also, as always, if there's any questions, please feel free to chat, put something in the chat or the Q&A. It is important for me to engage. It is important for me to hear or reciprocate breath with you folks. And with Zoom, it's really hard. With these types of avenues, it's really hard. So at any given point, you have something to say, share, or want to acknowledge, please feel free to put that in the chat, whether you're on Facebook or here on Zoom, and somebody will let me know so that I can acknowledge it as well and be able to answer any questions or share your mana'o. So with that being said, you're probably wondering, what is Hoʻā Mana? The title of this this session is it's called Hoʻaka Mana. Hoʻaka meaning to strike, to hit. Hoʻaka Mana. It is to strike with intention. This is a nonprofit I had created, actually 2021, to help single parents to be able to elevate in society, as an individual, as a parent, and so through culture. And so Hoʻaka Mana is to strike with intention, in a sense where we know who we are, we know where we're going, and we know what we want. And we move in a way with integrity and grace that it affects us, but only can inspire and empower others. And that leads us into Hoʻā Mana. Hoʻā is to ignite, right? It has the kahako over the a. Hoʻā, to ignite mana. And so it was last year in 2020, when we were in quarantine mode, that this practice was revived in my life. And not recognizing or realizing or not ready for the understanding that this was taught to me from when I was a child, from when I was, from growing up as a child, every day in my life. It was a part of my life. It didn't have a title. It didn't have a meaning. It didn't have anything other than it is. And didn't realize I lost what it is, and it went away. And it took last year during the pandemic to go through, my grandparents were cleaning their house, to go through all of my grandfather's writings, remembering, going through all the writings that we had during our martial arts classes, going through all the writings that we had during our Lā Hoʻihoʻi Lomi classes. And the one thing that sparked my mind was Hoʻā Mana and his writings in there. And I went, oh, yes, we are here. We're here at Hoʻā Mana. Ironically, we're in a pandemic. Ironically, we're all having to deal with ourselves. Ironically, everything's being shown and put into light. We cannot run away from ourselves because we're actually stuck with ourselves. Hoʻā Mana came to be. And so I'm reading a lot of this and going, oh my gosh, okay, this is what we've been doing. Why didn't I know what the name was? Why didn't I understand there was something specific to this practice? Because again, it just is. If you don't name a shoe, it's just something you put on your feet to protect it. Once you can name it's a shoe, then you can differentiate the shoe from the slipper. And so that's what Hoʻā Mana was in that essence. And so Hoʻā Mana is actually a practice that was done by our kupuna well before missionaries came. In fact, it was done even pre-ho'oponopono. It was done during the time of transitioning between, like, if we go back to Mu, if we go back to that time before our chiefs, that time before our kingdom, that time before the missionaries. So if I had to place you in time, in through this whole entire va, you would go all the way back. And it was pre-ho'oponopono. And in fact, it was pre-ho'oponopono into the part of where it was integrated with ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono came after Hoʻā Mana. And they're very similar in the sense of the way we think, in the sense of the way we move. The difference is Hoʻā Mana is individual, Whereas in ho'oponopono, as we know today, it can be maybe you and another person, you and another element, you and another something, right? To make right, to bring back to balance. Hoʻā Mana was it was an individual task. And it didn't necessarily include anything outside of you. Even if it was the outside that was giving you problems, it was the outside that made you think a lot. It actually was the main staple in that was self-mastery. And that's what Hoʻā Mana is, it's self-mastery. And I'm hoping that I'm not, it feels so weird that I'm talking to myself, guys. If you guys are out there and this is all making sense, please somebody give me a thumbs up or let me know that you're still there. Hopefully this is making sense, or if I need to slow down, okay? From talking too fast. So thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, okay. And I keep looking up at my other screen because I'm trying to stay on task. All right, thank you so much. Okay, I'm glad we're still here. Thank you. Okay, so what I wanted to share was, it was in 2009, this kupuna, his name was Alex Pua'a, who has now passed. If you guys knew who Kupuna Alex Pua'a was, he was from Molokai. Deep voice, very kind of, when he spoke, it was just, there was no character. He spoke in this manner and it was like this. And boy, did it draw you in, did it make you want to listen, you know? And, you know, Uncle Alex was a very interesting man. You want to talk about philosophy and talking to the Chinese masters in China, and they're talking to you in metaphors. Talk to the old Hawaiians who talk to you in metaphors. Well, Uncle was that person. And I learned a lot from him. But he told me one thing that has always stuck with me. I share this a lot with my mana bombs because it really has affected me. And I hope positively, and I hope it affects other people too. But he told me something. He said, you know what, baby, Hawaiians don't say I'm sorry. Hawaiians never said I'm sorry. The kalamaida, all this other stuff, yeah, that wasn't what you guys think it is today. It's not that. And I was like, what? How can we move about this earth in this space without hurting anybody? How do we move within this space without triggering somebody or making you feel somebody offended? How? You know, he never answered that question, and he wasn't going to. In fact, it took me 2 years to figure out what he meant, and then finally I could go back to him and go, okay, Uncle, I understood what you meant. And he wasn't going to give me the answer. He needed me to experience it myself. You know, you want to talk about old school learning? A lot of my teachers, even my grandfather, was the same. They didn't give me the answers. And if I asked them, is this the answer? They still wouldn't tell me yes or no if that was the answer. It was me having to go through these journeys and come back knowing exactly what the answer was. And so, you know, with what Uncle Alex had shared, and you folks, if you ever get a chance to go online, you can look him up too. He's also on YouTube. And I think he goes into more ho'oponopono things, but because he was also a practitioner. But he told me this, Hawaiians never said I'm sorry. Even, and what he was talking about was, this was pre-missionary, pre-ali'i, pre-kingdom. This is way before. And what he was trying to express was, we all understood perspective, makawalu. We all understood that there was different ways of looking at something, and everybody could experience the same thing, but all see it very differently. None were wrong and none were right, and all knew that and were okay with it. Because when you heard the perspective of all, you got the whole picture. But if your perspective is the only one that's correct, you just got a piece of the whole entire spectrum. So Kanaka knew that there was different perspectives. There were different ways of looking at something. And it was actually to the benefit of a person to understand all perspectives, because that made them greater. And the one rule that he had was, regardless of our differences, we still had the same view. And all we ask is we do not harm. We do not harm mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. We do not harm. We respect, we honor each other's views. And so, you know, it'd be a very beautiful place today if we understood that concept, that everybody's perspectives should be honored and respected, even if it was against our own, because that only makes us stronger. And then that's how we go through Hoʻā Mana. And through Hoʻā Mana, I take you through spaces of kilo to observe, not necessarily always everything outside, but always the things that are inside. How are we taking that? What's triggering us? What's making us move in a way that hurts, that I want to choke somebody out? And we have many of those. I know I have many of those moments where I just want to choke somebody out. And then I got to sit back and go, okay, no. No. Not because it's not worth going to jail, but more for the sense of, no, it's not worth it, because there's bigger consequences. Bigger, not worth it. So he spoke of that type of essence where it was not necessary to say I'm sorry or e kalamai. And actually kala, to go through a movement to kala in general, to do that would have, it was held at a higher reverence. It was held at a higher, how do I say this? It was held at a higher way of thinking other than, oh, kalamai. Oh, sorry. Oh, I cheated. Sorry. Oh, I stole that from you. Sorry. You know, it was more than just that. The kala was taken to a higher level of reverence, and which we don't do today, as time has changed and shifted. So I want to go into a little bit about, I was asked to do some skill sets and sharing some skill sets. Skill sets. And I wanted to actually, if you folks are willing to, start on one of the basic skill sets in this. Beautiful. Mahalo kavena. Because it all starts from self, right? Your piko. I wanted to share that, again, Hoʻā Mana is not something, it's not a new concept. It's not a new healing practice. It's not a new anything, really. It's a revival of an old practice, a very old practice that we haven't seen in a very, very long time, years and hundreds of years. So it's not new. I want to keep sharing that it's not brand new. I didn't make it up. I'm not that smart to make something up like this. This is something definitely handed down by our kupuna, and more research is being delved into this practice. Hoʻā Mana was also not only a practice for healing, as with anything, light has dark, female, male, sun, moon, you know, sunset, sunrise, everything has an opposite. So Hoʻā Mana was also utilized in ceremony, which required death in those cases, or reviving. So what I'm trying to say is, when we decide to go into a practice, or we start to research a practice, and we start to claim ownership or go into it, just know, you have to know, again, the many perspectives to retain the whole in its entirety. To only have one aspect and one perspective does not do you justice, nor does it do your work justice. Whether you want to hear things or not, whether you believe in it or not, whether it is something that I want to take out because I don't like it or not, it is still there. So we have to learn all the perspectives to really honor the whole. And when we honor that whole, we can then distribute with pono. That's where the ho'opono comes in, right? So I wanted to put that disclaimer out because there are other sides of Hoʻā Mana that today's society, today's mindset may not want to hear about. And it did have to do with death. It had to do with reviving. It had to do with other aspects of Hoʻā Mana. If you can heal, you can hurt. As you can hurt, you can heal. And we have to remember that. And that takes responsibility. And guess what? Hoʻā Mana is mastery of self. You're only going to do it to yourself. Okay? So I want to put that out there. Yeah, Hoʻā Mana takes one out of darkness and creates the kindle to revitalize light, right? The awareness, the inner fortitude, the resilience. It evokes emotions and lightens emotional labor. E hoi ke au. E hoi ke au. So this is where I shared, if you are not ready, actually, to be honest with you, we are never ready. I will be very straight up. We're never ready. We just need to find more confidence in ourselves to move to the next level. And if I told the doctor when I was hapai with my daughters, I wasn't ready to give birth, which I did tell them, and I did try to use giving birth to my first daughter. I'm not ready. No, I cannot. I'm not ready to give birth yet. I know the pain. I heard the lady yelling in the other room. I saw the videos. That's supposed to come out of me. I'm not ready for that. But guess what? Universe said, Kupuna said, no. Now, best gift ever given to me. And then had 3 more after that. And so we're never going to be ready. We just have to do it. And I always say it's better to be in a very safe space while going through this. A pu'uhonua, a place where you're not judged, a place where you can scream, be angry, you can say all the hurtful things that are in your brain, get it out. You can laugh, cry. You can look back and go, oh my gosh, dang, why did I go through that? Did I have to? No. You want to be in a place where you're pu'uhonua. You're pu'uhonua. Safe. And it's hard. It's hard to be in that place. And as a person who takes it, actually is not hard at all. It's really easy. When you get into Hoʻā Mana, you're okay with that. You actually will tell them, you're going to get pissed at me. You're going to yell at me. You're going to want to kill me. But I'm not moving. I'm here for it. Do what you need to do. Because after that, you're going to love me. You're going to thank me. And you're going to cry on my shoulders. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to provide water for you. And I'm going to provide shelter for you. Hoʻā Mana is self-mastery. But because of all the things that we have gone through today, we've lost trust. Not only in others, but trust in ourselves. So it's very hard to make those decisions. It's very hard to entrust outside of us. So I want to put that out there. Again, what is Hoʻā Mana. Untangling the entanglements based on society and colonization. Your first step is to find the ironies in life, and let me express to you, there are many. And I'm laughing because once I figured it out, you're gonna laugh too, because there's a lot. There's a whole lot of irony. We don't even know it. And you can consider it illusions. You can consider it these tangles in life, these entanglements. Once you figure it out and you can see it, oh boy, your whole world will flip. You will look at life in a whole different way. What used to bother you, now you just you laugh. You just go, oh my gosh, that's okay, let's keep going. It's like, all right, I cannot, there's 20 of them and one of you, you're gonna figure it out. The ironies in life. And so Uncle Alex had also shared a mana'o, and he said one of the most important things that you could know as a Kanaka is your language. And what he meant by that was that the language, especially Native Hawaiian language, holds so many different ways of thinking. Already in our language, we are creating those perspectives, the makawalu. And he understood that language has mana, language has power. Hence the reason why our Kanaka spoke in metaphor. They spoke in kaona with hidden meanings. We had power in our words, and we had to be very careful how we use that power. And I say that because if you think it's just the words that come out of your mouth that is powerful, it's also the words we say in our head that are just as powerful. I always share a story, so I do mana bombs, and I do these mana bomb podcasts. Go listen if you like laugh at me. But it's really helped me go through a lot, just untangling some stuff and hoping that it's relatable to anybody who's gone through the same things. But oh gosh, I had a moment. So so the whole thing about language is that, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I had a tutu moment. I'm not young, guys. I'm getting older, and I'm recognizing I'm having more tutu moments. What I was gonna say is there is what I call, my brother taught me this. And my brother and I learned from my grandfather, mind you. He and I have the same mana. He does it very different from me, but he's very powerful. It cracks me up. Anyways, so my brother, he always used to say his board members, you know those voices in your head? Those voices in your head that speak? You have the one that says, you know, you have the fire burning. You have to go touch it. It's gonna be okay, just touch it. And you have the other one in your head that's, no, don't touch it, you're gonna get burned. The other one in your head was like, fire, no fire, I'm so afraid of fire. And the other one in your head is going, no, what are we cooking tonight? You know? So you have all these voices and these inner thoughts and these thinking, and he used to call them board members. We recently changed that to our Lā Hoʻihoʻi. I have my Lā Hoʻihoʻi in my head, and my Lā Hoʻihoʻi tell me all kinds of things. And you have to understand which Lā Hoʻihoʻi leads, and they're all leaders. They're all leaders. Which one of your Lā Hoʻihoʻi lead? Who's gonna alaka'i that day? Is it gonna be your ego? Is it gonna be the tender one? Is it the one that's afraid of everything? Is it your anxiety? Is it your history? That has a place too. And in fact, guides a lot of what these folks think and how they move. We don't even know it. And so when you talk to your Lā Hoʻihoʻi in your head, you're self-managing. And you know that one word my papa would always share, even in Hoʻā Mana, You know that one word that you tell your kids, oh, you grounded. You don't tell them you punish. You tell them you're grounded. You tell that the same thing to your Lā Hoʻihoʻi. Your ground, your ego, the ego that wants to rip somebody apart, that's the one that wants to strangle somebody. That's the one that wants to tell everybody that they're right, that they're better than everybody. Or that ego that wants to tell everybody, you're all wrong, I'm right. Or that one ego that says, see, I told you. Yeah, unnecessary, right? You just wasted 2 seconds of breath that could have went to someplace else. But that ego sometimes needs to be grounded, not punished, grounded. And you know how sometimes we get into this place where we did today, getting grounded? Same. That ego needs to be put in a room somewhere in your po'o, in the back room, and get grounded. That one cannot come out till he's grounded. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but you know, in retrospect, we have voices. Language is mana, and not necessarily what we say. It's stuff that we think of and we're saying in our head that has mana. We want to make sure that we manage that well, because one, we want to accept and process, but two, we don't want to live by those words for the rest of our life. We need a little bit of both. So kaona is a huge part and a method that we use in this process. Mahalo kalani, mahalo. Kaona, so I use this method within, I also teach Puni Ke Ola. It's a program for ʻōpio with Ahupuʻau Molokai and the UH Department of Psychiatry. We work with substance use, prevention and intervention. And so I utilize a foundation of Hoʻā Mana in my teaching, in my curriculum. Kaona for the hidden meanings, for the metaphor, for the language, yeah? Changing the language, the narrative. We hear that all the time. This is it, right? Our makawalu, the depth in perspective. Not only our perspective, where our perspective is coming from, but the perspective of others, and maybe where their perspectives are coming from. And then we do makawalu, and then we do it through photography. Yeah, nothing. And then what it is we go through it and we move through the illusions. We move through the ironies. Sorry, I'm the chats are going up, so I'm looking down and trying not to. Yes. Awesome. Mahalo Noel. Mahalo Kalani. Okay. All right. So I was asked to do a skill set. And if you folks are willing to do one, I would like to talk a little bit about ponoʻī. We have about 15 minutes left. Ponoʻī is, pono is, I guess, just in really quick terms, right? Balance. Pono, to make, ho'opono is to make right. Pono, more balance, right? Harmonious balance. I is with the kahako, and the okina I is supreme, at its highest potential. Ponoʻī, right? Ponoʻī, I guess if you put the two words pono and I together and you look it in the dictionary, I think it means self, just self, ponoʻī, right? Well, it's also a practice within Hoʻā Mana. In fact, in the practice of Hoʻā Mana, ponoʻī is the first level you go through. And sometimes the hardest. And interesting enough, you go back to ponoʻī many times through your Hoʻā Mana journey. And ponoʻī, it's your highest self. Your most balanced, highest potential. And I say that because I'm this much years old, I'm gonna do this. And I'm always evolving, but there is a foundation in me that will never, never change. the way I look at things will shift, the way I my favorite things, my likes, my dislikes, those will shift. The foundation of me will never shift. They will evolve, but they won't shift. So I want to take a moment for you folks to take time and write your ponoʻī, write who you are. So what it is who am I? The easiest question in the book, the one thing everybody thinks they know. And I've read several who am I's and I've had to send it back to them. Because if I cannot tell you who you are based off of what you're telling me you are, then somewhere there's some confusion, which means if there's confusion, we gotta go back to make it very clear. And so when I ask people to do their ponoʻī, when I ask them to write who am I also ask them not to write down, don't put two columns that say negative and positive, right? Do not put two columns that says pro and cons, good and bad. When you write, you just write. And there's reasons for that. And the reason for that is because what you think is a negative aspect could likely mean it's a positive one to somebody else. What somebody told you was bad about you all your life could mean something powerful to somebody else. So the way you look at yourself many times is based off of actually how somebody else looked at you. So how can you know who you are? How can you be ponoʻī based off somebody else's perspective? Really hard. But that's all you know. All you knew was your failure. All you knew you was junk at that. All you knew was you're the best at academics and you have to be the best at academics for the rest of your life. But I really love to play soccer and I really love to go hiking and I really love to play pool. Now you're held. You know, there's a difference between how we look at ourselves for ourselves versus how others look at ourselves for us. I'll let you guys sit with that one for a couple more minutes as I'm trying to share that. But really, who am I? So I encourage you folks to write who am I? And if you're wanting to go through that process of even just a foundation, you're welcome to email me that process and I will go through it and guide you through that. No judgment, none. Because my list probably the worst list ever. So you write your who you are. And what I also want to mention is if you're writing things, I am a mother, I am the supervisor here, I am a business owner, I am a community leader. I want you to rethink that. And the reason why I want to say that is because this doesn't make up you. The external makes up you. You're only a mother because you have children. You're only a community leader because you're in the community and the community creates that. You're only a supervisor because of your job. You're only the bestest and the bestest friend to many people because they make you that. Okay. And what that means is, who are you without those things? Who are you? Really hard, really something to think about. So yeah, if you are interested in wanting to go through that process, feel free to email me free of charge and I'll guide you. I'll guide you through that. Not a problem. because it's actually harder than we think. A lot. And so you want to put things like what I would read, or even a mind, you know. Yeah. Here, hard to deal with. Here, I'll tell you one. I am a manipulator. I manipulate situations. Okay, so your first one, you just put words without explanation. When I go through your second one, then we start talking about it. I'll break it down. But anyways, I'll do both now. So manipulator, I manipulate situations because I need to have control. I like to control things. I throw tantrums when I don't get my way. So those are some negative, like what you would consider negative. I want you to write those down. Even if you don't think you are it, but it keeps coming up in your life, you might want to write it down. You might want to write it down. If you're always cheating and somebody's like, oh, you're a cheater, and you're like, no, I'm not a cheater. I only cheat when I'm in between and we're fighting. If it's coming up a lot, maybe you might want to put, doesn't matter. Who cares? We're just going to address it so we can figure out how to move about it. How you can use it to your advantage and how you can use it or lose it. It's up to you, right? Some things are good. Sometimes manipulating can be used for good. Sometimes cheating can be used for good. I mean, it sounds really like what? But I'm going to start untangling some of those things and the ironies in that. You'll be very, very, very shocked when you find out what those ironies are and those illusions that we walk through every day in life are. Your whole entire life will change. But it takes hitting rock bottom first. So write those things down. Also write those things, you know, I'm compassionate. I'm very patient. I'm a good listener. I speak with clarity. I'm a good communicator. You know, write all of those. So I want to encourage you folks to do that. And if you're wanting to go through that, I will, or maybe Lininoi or Napua can put my email address in the chat, and you can message me that, and I can help you walk through that. So with that being said, I mean, that hour went by really quickly. We have about 8 minutes left. I'm open for any questions, any mana'o. Maybe it sparked. You've heard Hoʻā Mana through your ohana a long time ago. I don't know. Would love to speak to other people who practice Hoʻā Mana, because they're hard to find. But yeah, if there's any questions, please throw them in the chat. Share, engage. I would love to hear from you folks out there.
Mahalo nui, Kanoe. That was beautiful. Mahalo for sharing such incredibly amazing Ike, and for taking us on this just absolutely incredible journey. I cannot mahalo you enough. If anyone has any questions, yeah, feel free to please post them in our Q&A. You can also post them on the Facebook and we'll transfer them over. I definitely want to start this process. Like just listening to you, I would I'm pretty, yeah, I was taking notes, and, you know, I really would love to start this process.
Yeah, the journey is as long as you need it to be. And it's definitely not going to be an easy one, but I do have faith that each of us have gone through enough in life that this would be minors. Facing ourselves, come on, we've been through so much already. We've had so many challenges. We have risen so many times. Don't forget all those times.
Yeah. You're so right. I see one question on the Facebook. Is there a good oli for Hoʻā Mana?
Oh, plenty. Plenty. A lot of it is ho'ola. There are all things that revive life and movement. And so you know what? I'm gonna actually do a plug right now to help you out. If you go to Kanainai, you know which one is that? Yeah, Illinois. Illinois will put it in the chat. But if you go to Kanainai, we do this every morning at 9 o'clock, and there are hule there that are for ho'ola and ho'ola, right? To live, for your health, for your well-being. Many of those will help in the understanding of Hoʻā Mana. So you can find that on Facebook. You can sign up for their group. It's Kalenu Uhiva who does that with us every morning at 9 o'clock. Do not feel intimidated. They put the oli on top of there every morning, and we do it every morning. I do it ritually. It's been the best blessing that I've had to do. So if you get a chance, go check that out. I also want to share that on PoMahinaDesigns.com, we do have ferns, La'au Lapa'au. These are hydrosols that are used for emotional well-being as well. These are La'au Lapa'au. And there is 103 native Hawaiian ferns that are recognized. And each fern possesses a type of essence through their la'au. And so these la'au will help with emotion. And I will admit, I take these daily and have been taking these daily for over a year and a half now. The first one that I took was palapalai, which is more for discipline. And the reason why I took that was to help me stay focused, to move to elevation, especially through the Hoʻā Mana process, as somebody who was holding space for Hoʻā Mana. I have to be disciplined. It would not be in your best interest if I was not disciplined. So there's palapalai, we have ho'io, we have this is puapuamoa, Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea. You can just check it out. It's all on PoMahina Designs. They're there for emotional well-being, and they're hydrosols. Awesome, mahalo.
Mahalo. I would just drop the link to Kanainai together as well as PoMahina Designs into the chat. And I think we can probably, oh, mahalo Napua for dropping it on the Facebook as well. Does anyone else have any questions? I'm checking the Facebook too and looking at all my monitors also.
No problem. Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to email.
We'll give everyone just a few more moments to think about some more questions, and I'll just make a couple of our closing announcements. Mahalo again for sharing this space with us and for sharing all of this ike. Definitely just such a beautiful space for growth and for learning, and on a perfect day, on Lā Hoʻihoʻi Ea, you know, trying to embody that and what is good and healing for our people. So mahalo. We have another, our last webinar in this series. Oh, Kala, my neighbors are doing construction, so I hope you can hear me. We have our last webinar of this series is on August 5th at 7 p.m. with Dr. Aukahi Austin, who will share about mental health and the mauna. And we'll drop that registration into the chat. After this session, you will also be redirected to an evaluation form, which will also drop in the chat, just in case for those of you that are joining us on maybe on your phone or something. Sometimes the redirect does not work. So I'll drop that in the chat as well. And we also, again, want to hold the space for anyone who might want to process through anything that came up for them over the course of today's session. You know, really important that we process through those things and that you don't continue to carry them throughout the day. So we can, if no one has any further questions, then we might stop the recording and stop the live stream and allow people to speak if they would like to share anything. Let me share the evaluation form as well as the registration for our final session on August 5th. And we'll share those on the Facebook as well. Okay, mahalo nui Kanoe. I really, really appreciate you sharing this space with us. We'll go ahead and stop the recording now. Napua, is that okay to stop the recording? Mahalo. Are we also able to stop the live stream on Facebook?